This is eTradeSupply.com, and today we're going to try and show you the difference between an iPhone 4 OEM rear housing and aftermarket rear housing, as well as a iPhone 4 OEM LCD assembly and aftermarket LCD assembly. Now it's hard to tell which is which, but one way you can see that the colors are a little bit different. Like this one, the white is very pure, and on this one the white looks a little bit darker. And it's the same thing with these two. However, you still might not know which is which. So another test you can perform is a water beading test. So what you do is you just put a little drop of water onto the rear housing, and you can see how the water reacts. You can see on this piece here the water beads, and it can roll around quite easily. And on this piece here the water just spreads out, and it just spreads as you try to get it off. But with this piece, it'll roll right off. So as you could guess, this piece on the right is the OEM piece. Now it's the same thing with the LCDs. Just put a drop of water on each of them, and you can see right away. And it's the same thing with the home button. The water will bead on an OEM home button. So it rolls very nicely. Not on this one. Now on the back of the LCDs, you can see around the camera hole on the OEM that engraved is kind of a little ring around the camera hole. But on the aftermarket piece, you won't see these rings. You can see there's a lot of other small differences, such as the colors and other small little things, but that's not always an issue, because if it's a different production from the same factory, there could be little changes. And also sometimes there's more than one OEM factory, and they may also have small differences. Now by looking at the back of the rear housings to see if it's OEM or aftermarket, it's a little more difficult, because this again, there's a lot of different aftermarket factories and OEM factories as well. So with the aftermarket factories, some make very good quality. You can't even tell the difference. And some of them, it's a little bit different. Like this one, you can see the quality is much different from the OEM piece. If you look very carefully at the little fittings, you can also see that the molds that they use for the OEM, for example, is of much better quality than the one that they use for the aftermarket piece. But that's not always the case. So if you have a very good copy, then try the water test and also look at the color test. And also just look for small little imperfections. Now, one last method to see if the LCD assembly is OEM or aftermarket is to look at it from the side. So I'll put the OEM piece on the top and the aftermarket on the bottom, put it in front of a light, and you can see that the top glass of the OEM is clear, while the top glass of the aftermarket piece has a greenish tint to it. And it's the same thing with the digitizers. They both have the greenish tint. So you can see very clearly that the OEM front glass is clear compared to the other one. And you could even just compare it to the digitizer. One last thing you can do to see if it's OEM or aftermarket is the color test again. So you take the home button here, and you can try fitting it here into the aftermarket piece. You might not be able to tell so much with this video, but you can see the color really sticks out. But if I put it into the OEM piece, you can see it looks a lot more at home. So when you buy your pieces, just be very careful. Buy them from a reputable supplier, such as us. We're ISO 9001 certified. So come visit us at eTradeSupply.com.